The only thing worse than receiving a poorly written cold email is receiving an even worse follow-up email. And since I just got this email from Sopro, I decided it would make a good case study in how not to write cold emails and how it could be done better. The original email starts off like this: Word Sounds Visuals, that's the name of my agency. It's always good practice to mention the name of the person you're emailing or the name of their company, because that instantly grabs attention, so points to Sopro for that. But if we imagine that you're just approaching a stranger at a networking event or anywhere else in general, you probably wouldn't start with a random statement like this. Buyers in the content space often start their search when their teams hit a wall with ideas or lack the time to create fresh and on-brand work. I have no context for this, so I have no idea what this refers to. Buyers in the content space? And they often start their search for what? When their teams hit a wall with ideas or lack the time to create fresh and on-brand work. Okay, so I'm assuming it's because I've been categorized as a content marketing agency. And when they say buyers in the content space, they're referring to businesses who need content marketing services. But it's terribly unspecific. I don't really know if this refers to copywriting or video or graphic design or whatever else kind of content that's on offer. It continues. From what we've seen, who are we? Haven't been introduced yet. Heads of marketing and brand leaders look for help that feels bespoke, not off the shelf. Okay, so now we've identified who my potential target audience would be, heads of marketing and brand leaders, which is great. And they look for help that feels bespoke, not off the shelf. That's kind of stating the obvious, because no one wants cookie cutter approaches or to be treated like a number. Everyone wants personalized, tailor-made, bespoke, custom service, right? So it's a bit of a waste of space to write this in an email, I think. They want quick wins, but also long-term results. Everyone does. Now we get an introduction. At Sopro, we work with content pros worldwide. This is very vague. Who are content pros? If you are just a YouTuber and you're not into business or marketing, you can still be a content pro. And then they say many in Denmark. I seriously doubt that they work with many people in Denmark. Of course, they've just included that detail because I'm located in Denmark, but fair enough. We get how to help you meet these buyers when they're ready to act. Now we actually get to a selling proposition. This is what I would have led the entire email with. I would have said something like, hey, wouldn't it be nice if you could reach your ideal client the moment they're ready to buy? Now that would be a very strong hook that I would also have used in this subject line. But how is Sopro going to help me do that? It continues. Our approach blends tech-driven targeting with hands-free outreach so you can focus on what you do best. Now that's assuming that what I do best is not tech-driven targeting with hands-free outreach. But it actually doesn't outline exactly how they do this. Tech-driven targeting, what kind of technology are you using? Hands-free outreach, does that mean that you'll be sending cold emails like this to my potential clients? Because I don't think that's gonna work. And then the call to action at the end, open to seeing how this works. You haven't really piqued my curiosity here, because first of all, you started off with a long rant and stating two obvious things, and then you got terribly non-specific talking about content pros. You did mention you could help me reach clients when they're ready to act, but you didn't actually explain how you would do it or why I should trust you. So now we're getting to the call to action where you're asking for a meeting, which means I now have to invest time to hear your pitch when you could have just included that pitch in the actual cold email. Then 6 days later, today, I get a follow-up email saying, hey, I just wanted to check if strengthening Word Sounds Visuals client pipeline is something you might be considering this year. This is asking an obvious question. Would you like to make more money? Yes. Duh. No business owner wakes up and thinks, I don't particularly feel like strengthening my client pipeline this year. That's the entire point of running a business. Would you be open to a short conversation next week to explore ideas? Again, you haven't really piqued my curiosity by explaining some kind of unique mechanism that you're leading with or any client results you've gotten in the past that you could potentially emulate by working with me. And then also considering this email has been sent out on a Tuesday, why would you ask for a short meeting next week when you could ask for a short meeting today or tomorrow? Because if I have considered strengthening my client pipeline this year, then I would probably be dying to talk to someone who can help me solve that problem. But this is not just meant as a tear down video. So let's actually see if we can improve this cold email. And the way I'm going to do that is to go to the website here. Okay, so this is Sopro's website. Qualified sales conversions started by us, finished by you. Say goodbye to slow sales months. Now that is a good promise. I like that. But what I'm interested in as a prospective potential client is to see the results. So here we have success stories, awards, and live campaign results. I think that's really cool. So let's open up one of this in a new tab here. So we have a review. We have quite a few reviews to choose from. That's cool. How many clients they have, campaigns they've run, outreach message sent, conversations started. Wow. Video case studies. That seems good. Let's go back to the results section here. I'm interested in the live campaign results. Okay. That's pretty cool. Here we can see the total engagements, leads generated. This is the interesting part, right? Lead percentage and summary by target industry. So if I was going to cold email someone like myself, I would probably find a result from the target industry and include that in the email, because then we can say, guess what? We have generated 1,700 leads for people just like you. And then I might also go into the pricing and see, okay, how much would that cost me to get 1,700 leads? We don't have hard and fast pricing here. We can say that our pricing starts at around 3.5K per month. Cool. So now we want to get into a conversation around how much does it cost you to acquire leads? Would paying 3.5K be worth it to you if you in return got 1,700 leads? I should think so. But even the pricing page is not that well done, because it says here, if 3.5K is in your ballpark, book a demo now and we can discuss details. Well, it might be in my ballpark, but it really depends on what kind of results I'll get for that money. If I can get $30,000 worth of business, then paying a tenth of that is a no-brainer. But if you're not going to get me any leads, then this is going to be money down the drain. Nevertheless, let's see what we can do. Going to head over to ChatGPT, and then we're going to take all the copy from SoPro here and say, analyze following web copy. And then we're going to take the pricing here, add that in. Here we have the success stories. Let's add them in as well, like that. And I don't really care about the awards, but let's take some of the live campaign results and add them as well. And now we're going to have ChatGPT analyze all the information from the website. Now my ChatGPT is obviously trained on performing copywriting tasks, so you can see that it goes into a high-level summary of what works and what doesn't work in the web copy itself. But that's not really what I'm interested in. So I'm going to say, based on the information I've given you, can you write a cold email from SoPro to a content marketing agency? I want you to lead with an attention-grabbing hook that addresses a pain point and or promises a desirable outcome, and then outlines how SoPro will help me get results backed by their track record working with companies similar to mine. Let's see what it spits out. Okay, so ChatGPT have spat out a cold email, which I think already in its current form would work a lot better than the one I received from SoPro, because it's written in a more natural and conversational tone of voice, and it provides a bit more context to who they are and what they offer and how they can potentially help me. However, it does come across as a bit of ChatGPT slop, so I think we can improve it a bit with some feedback. So I'm going to turn on the dictate function here, and then I'm going to say, okay, this email is pretty good, but I think we could be more concise. I think it's currently 200 words, which is a bit long. Let's see if we can condense it down to 100 words. And then we also want to start the email with a hook that really grabs the prospect's attention, right? So the initial idea I had was, what if you could reach out to potential clients the very moment they were ready to buy from people like you? That's something that most businesses have wet dreams about, right? Then we would go into, well, it's actually possible because we've done that for XYZ company and we got them these results in this time frame. Here's how we do it. And then you go into the unique mechanism. So that could be, we have this email system or LinkedIn outreach system that gets these results. If that's of interest, then I can explain how we would make it work for you as well on a 15-minute call, no strings attached. When are you free? And then a booking link. Okay, so that was some jumbled notes, but let's see if ChatGPT can make sense of that. Okay, now we have the second iteration of our cold email. Not bad. It's shorter, more to the point, and leads with the promise, which I mentioned it should lead with, which is, what if you could reach clients right when they're ready to buy? But let's hit dictate again and say, the cold email is getting there, but we're not actually outlining exactly how many leads we could get the prospect based on our track record working with companies companies in a similar space. So I would maybe start this email by saying, hey Frederick, I noticed that you are in this industry. Now, we happen to have worked with a number of companies in the same industry as you, and we've gotten them this number of leads. The way we've gotten them, and then we go into explaining the unique mechanism, maybe with some bullet points, and saying we've done this for over 3,000 companies, including top tier agencies, blah, 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 blah. Would it be interesting to see if we could get the same results for you? Now let's see what it says. Boom. And now we have a perfectly serviceable email. So let's open up a Google Doc, and then we'll copy this over here. Boom. And then we're going to take the subject line, which was better before, and then we're going to add that here. So we want to put this booking call in the middle, and then we want to space out some of the text here, clean up those bullet points. And now it reads as thus. The subject line is, what if you could reach clients right when they're ready to buy? Actually, let's change that to the moment they're ready to buy. And then it says, hi Frederick, noticed you're in content marketing. Now that is a much more natural opener. I'm emailing you because I noticed you're in content marketing. Let's see how that stacks up to the original email. Buyers in the content space often start their search when their team said, whoa, 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 you're bombarding me with a bunch of shit. I noticed you're in content marketing. Cool. Now I know why you're emailing me. We've worked with several agencies in your space. One just like yours landed 112 qualified sales conversations last quarter using our outreach system. This is incredibly specific, right? They know that I'm in content marketing. They have a client just like me. They've gotten these results in the last quarter with their outreach system. So in just 2 sentences, we've now explained the reason for emailing, provided some context, and promised a desirable result if I care to read on and potentially book a call. Here's how we do it. 3 bullet points explaining: map your ideal clients outside your network, reach out across email, LinkedIn, and display, track intent, and deliver hot leads to your inbox. Great. We've done this for over 3,000 companies, including top tier agencies scaling beyond referrals. Cool, more social proof. Would it be interesting to explore what this could look like for you? And then a call to action to book a call. Best, your name, Sopro. Now that is a much better cold outreach email. It's not annoying, and it clearly explains the value proposition. But we're not done yet, because I also received a follow-up email here, which was basically just saying, I want to check if you're interested in more clients. So I would go back to ChatGPT and say, let's assume it didn't get a response. I want to follow up with another email to prompt them to book a call, but I don't want to be annoying. So I'd like to provide some value, maybe some tips on how we get the results to demonstrate our expertise, and then use it to build authority and entice the reader to book a call. And then it spits out, subject line, 3 outreach tactics we could use to land 100+ sales for agencies like yours. Perfect. Now we're leading with a desirable outcome. Hi Frederick, totally get that now might not be the right time. Polite. So instead of a sales pitch, here are a few tactics we've used to consistently drive qualified leads for content agencies. So now they're giving me free tips: intent-driven targeting, multi-channel follow-up, and conversion-first copy. If you're curious how these could work in your niche, I'll be happy to walk you through it, no pressure. Book a quick call if that sounds useful. And here you're actually leading with value, because you say we track signals like job changes, tech installs, and buyer behavior to reach prospects right when they're in market. So that's something I wasn't aware that you could do. And if I'm interested in getting these results, I can actually go out and do this myself now, because you've made me aware of this method that I was unaware of before. But if I don't have time to do it myself, now I know that you know that this is a way you can get in front of clients when they're ready to buy, and now I might be more inclined to buy from you because you've demonstrated your expertise, explained to me how it works. Now I just need to make the decision to outsource it to you. So let's dump that in here as well. And now we have an initial cold outreach email and a follow-up email. Now I'm willing to bet money I don't have that these 2 emails are going to convert 1,000,000 times better than the initial emails I received from Sopro. And all it took was to actually just copy and paste the information already on the Sopro website, feed it to ChatGPT, ask it to process that information, and then ask it to compose a cold email based on basic copywriting principles, such as leading with a pain point or a desired outcome, explaining how it works, and then asking for the call. And then instead of being annoying and just reiterating your previous point in a follow-up email, you then take a different approach and lead with value. And you don't even need to put that much work into it, because the machine will do it for you. Now, if this kind of stuff is of interest to you, I've actually put together a copywriting course, which you can get for free if you click the link below this video, and it'll teach you some of the techniques I've used in this video so you can write higher converting copy and get more leads for your business. See you in your inbox.